Hello, my lovely souls. Today we have here with me your host Celeste Rawlings, the wonderful Pernille
Otzens, yeah.
and she has got an incredible idea that when I heard about it, I thought, oh my goodness, this is something that I personally want to be involved with when I leave the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think that you should all hear about this because I'm pretty sure every single one of you is going to be very interested in this too.
Mm.
So, Pernille, how did this idea start?
So it actually started when I was in like women's mandalas, where it's like a gifting economy, and I actually, when I was in the mandalas, I was receiving so much abundance in my life. Monetary, love, kids, everything was just like really flowing. Abundance, a lot of monetary abundance.
Financial abundance.
Financial, that's the word. And I started receiving these gifts from these women that I didn't know. They were basically, didn't even have fridges. They were like in places like Portugal. They had like no money. And so I'm like in this beautiful house with someone. I was gifted a car. I was gifted like the house that I'm living in now. I was like, how can I accept this money from these women and just go like, basically, what am I going to use it? What it has to go towards something amazing. It has to go towards something spectacular. And I was member of a society of tree sisters. I don't know if you've heard of tree sisters. Yeah, they're like a big charity that plant millions of trees, and my daughter had just become 10 and she raised all this money for tree sisters, and I knew it had to be something to do with planting trees. And then also I think I've had both of my dads passed away when I was young, so I had a stepdad and a real dad. And so I've always had this like really close kind of relationship with death, where I feel like it should be a celebration and not like
Absolutely.
Yes?
Absolutely, yeah. I just had this conversation with my family the other day that it should be a celebration of a person's life, not a miserable mourning of, oh, they're not here anymore.
Yeah.
Celebrate the
Yes.
great times. Yeah.
Yes. And so obviously there's so many kind of healers around at the moment as well. So I did a lot of healing work around. So my healer was more or less specialized in communicating with your higher self and communicating with people that have passed. So this was like kind of her thing. And then and she wanted also to do a lot of the work with kids and people that have had abortions and that have passed. So I was really involved with her around this kind of area and sort of healing like ancestors and all of this kind of stuff. And anyway, all just kind of in that month when I was in the water element, and I was receiving all this money, like 1,200 euros from 8 women. I know, 8 women giving me all this money. And not only that, they were writing me love letters, and this is the money for your dream, and to make your dreams come true. And I was like, well, what is my dream? Like, what can I do when I've received so much beauty and abundance?
You didn't even know what your dream was.
No, so because I do parties, I do crazy stuff, I make costumes, I do like crystal mirrors, I have my website, which I'll give to you, which is like, I just do insane outfits and feathers and
very creative.
Yes, so like, and then I've been building mosaics and mud and bronze and everything.
Wow.
Basically. And so I was like, kind of done with making parties, doing a huge festival, decorating it. Everyone just gets drunk or whatever, and then you take it and you're like, what? Well, it kind of has lost. It's lost. It's kind of, and what? That's not my dream, because it's kind of like I've done it. And so with the Tree Sisters, and the death thing and everything, and then I live in Spain, and then wanting to give back to Mother Earth everything that I've received. I thought I want to grow a forest cemetery with a huge temple in the middle, completely biodegradable, like made like a bamboo cathedral or something insane, so still super creative. I want to create like a forest that's like a sculpture garden, so maybe not completely biodegradable, but like have, or maybe yes, totally biodegradable, but have like things from each religion. So you have like Buddhas, you have like Christ, you have like a Krishna, you have like all these different sort of avatars, messengers of God, just something beautiful, and do like workshops so kids can come and they can decorate their grandma's tree with like like dream catchers, but all bio, sort of made woods with flowers, and then make like, and have like a celebration, so it's, you can go and celebrate your loved ones, their departure or whatever.
That's incredible.
Yeah, but so then, like, you know, I have this whole journey. Then I was like, I'm gonna have like little yurts, so if people come from far away, they can come and stay. They can be on the land and really mourn as well. And I have like healers come in and do this, and I'll have like food so that they can like a breakfast bar with views and woods and everything. So I like, my vision is huge, and obviously, the reality of it is that it's not legal and it's not illegal in Spain. So
limbo, yeah.
I'm a little bit in limbo.
So this piece of land, how big are you envisaging? Like
so
hectares?
The numbers that I've done for my dream piece of land would be 5 hectares.
Right. And reasonably flat?
No.
It can be.
Yeah, it can be like up and down. Yeah.
Okay, so if it had to be in a mountainous area, there's no qualms about that.
Yeah, well, obviously, I mean, the whole bit can't be mountainous. It has to be like, and what I would like is, I would like it to be like half forested and half like not so much forest, so you can actually plant trees. And I mean, I've got all the numbers, and it's a bit crude because it's not the kind of thing you want to talk about. But if you work it out and the numbers are really good, you actually make a nice bit of money on your land, and you don't need to build anything. So it's like catch-22.
Yeah, catch-22. So ideal to anybody out there, if you've got a nice piece of land that you can't build on here in Spain, give Pernille a call.
Yeah, I've contacted several people that have big pieces of land, and people that are building like communities and stuff like that. I'm like, this is perfect. You have the land, you're building a community, so let me apply for a license just to see if it works. Like, let me apply, because each locality has different laws. So it won't be the same applying for a license like in Marbella as it will be in like in Malaga and Cadiz.
Right. Oh, so each little district has got.
Yeah, it's like a whole thing, and then you have to go to that district. So it's like, it's a question. It's almost like, I mean, I want to open the first one, whichever way it happens quicker. That would be like the first one in the area where I live, like in the Malaga region. But I'm happy to go to Cadiz as well.
Sure.
But at the moment, I've got a lawyer working on it all, and then I'm going to start applying. But I need the land to be able to apply for a license. I've got investors, but I can't buy the land until I'm sure that I'm going to get the license for the land.
Right. So yeah.
But there's a place I'll actually near you in Casares, where they have 11 hectares, and they're desperate to sell. So what I'm doing is I'm starting to contact estate agents and finding people that are, you know, they've got a tiny little house, 8-10 acres of land.
Wow.
But then, you know, there's so many factors that you have to look at, and if you look at how England does it, like they have they have to really separate the bodies when they have natural cemeteries. So England and America are the only places where they have like a substantial amount of natural cemeteries where you can have natural deaths. They have like 300 in the UK, they have like 300 in America.
Wow.
But the rest of the world, there isn't really. There's one in Sweden, which is the Forest Cemetery, which is UNESCO protected. It's 100 years old, but they're still burying the bodies with the full-on coffin, full of nails and synthetic materials and everything.
Which is totally not
what I want to do.
Yeah, well, if everyone's going sort of the green revolution,
Yeah.
that is fundamental that we change that.
Yes.
I mean, we are directly polluted. Like, people dying every day, thousands and thousands of people dying every day, people being buried every day. That is a serious hazard that we are all partaking in as tradition.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's time it changed. So when you say they have to be a certain distance, what is that? Like a couple of meters?
So in England, I mean, they have to literally space them all out. But I mean, if you look at any normal cemetery, but they have to be spaced out because of the polluting effects. So you can't just load up one area with loads of bodies, like
right.
in lines.
Okay, yeah.
Like the sort of.
Can't take advantage of the space.
But you would. But then, so say in every 5 meters squared, you would plant one tree, and in every 5 meters squared, you could fit 8 people.
And so they, as in the tree would be for a family.
Yeah. So originally, I wanted a tree per person, but realistically, you can do a tree.
Yeah, you're gonna have to.
You can do a tree per person, but if it's a mature forest, you can't bury a person in a mature forest because of the roots. You're ruining the roots.
Oh.
So the mature forest would be for ashes.
Right.
So then you can have a tree. You could. It depends on how much money you want. I mean, they actually have that available in Spain in various cemeteries in Malaga and Seville. They have like a tree, and you can put your ashes there. But there's so much pollution just from the ashes, from the cremation.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's
and there's
crazy.
only so much ash you can actually put on the ground at a certain time. Because I grow vegetables, I know that if you put too much ash on, you actually destroy the pH of the soil.
Right.
And in turn you destroy the plant.
Right.
So
Also, in I was shocked because I called the cemetery in Seville, and I said, I was like, okay, so it was like 126 euros to throw your ashes under this tree, and I was like, brilliant. And then
just the act of 120. Wow.
Yeah, but it's in a cemetery.
Okay.
But and then you have you know that tree is now going to be cut down, because imagine you could just go and throw your ashes in a random tree in the forest, and then they build a huge urbanization on it. Could you imagine?
I don't want to imagine.
Well, it's awful.
God.
So it has to be like a forest that's protected. I also want to have like a pet area. I mean, there's so many people. But anyway, back to the.
I don't see why that can't be in the family tree.
There you go. The family tree, isn't it beautiful?
Oh
you
my God.
You could actually decorate your tree.
Oh my God.
With do the whole names and everything. Have them on little wooden signs, maybe burnt out and written. You could do whatever you want. How to decorate your tree however you want, as long as it's biodegradable.
Of course.
But so I called them up, and they're like, "Oh, you can just." Yeah, I was like, okay, so how many people? Because in Malaga you have a maximum of 8 people or 50 people in one place per tree. And I was like...
50 people per tree?
With ashes.
With ashes, okay.
But then in Seville I was like, well, okay, she's like, no, don't worry, we don't put more than every 6 months we put a new ashes. And I was like, okay, until when? And then she was like, well, I don't know. So there was no end. So they're just going to keep putting the ashes over and over and over again on the tree.
Okay.
Anyway, there's it's really strange. And the whole thing with cemeteries is really
messed up. Because you have like, in Norway, where you think it's a really sort of country that has everything, you get a graveyard site for 25 years, and then after 25 years, they call you up and they're like, you know, Grandma Sue, it's her time to go, and then they take you up.
What?
Yeah, they take you up and then they put somebody else in. But it's horrific. And then, so the really bad thing is that in between the 1930s and 50s, they started to wrap people up in plastic.
Oh no.
So when they're putting them out in the ground, they're not decomposed. So there's a guy that's come up with a system where he goes around the graveyard and he pumps with these chemicals to decompose the body so that it will decompose quicker. So you're going to visit your granddad or whatever, your uncle, your husband, or your child, and then next door there's this guy like pumping. I mean, it's just so with the natural cemetery, you eradicate all of those things because you bury a body, it decomposes naturally.
Yes.
Then
absolutely.
if I have 5 acres of land, then it doesn't need to go so fast. But I mean, if you did apply the sort of rules that they have in Norway, every 25 years you could the bodies would be gone. They would be completely
gone. Yeah,
and you wouldn't have
nourishing the forest.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an
Well,
extremely fertile.
Well,
area.
this is the problem because we are toxic. Humans are toxic because of
what we eat and
chemotherapy, silicone implants.
So you'd have to have
mercury
you'd have to vet
fillings.
people then.
Well, the thing is, it's kind of inhumane. What are you going to do? Start chopping people's boobs off before they go in the ground? It's like,
Oh my goodness!
there is places that do it. Like there is, like you can turn yourself into compost. In America, they have like composting chambers. So instead of like, I know, but then they compost you, and then they wait a while. The time is different because they keep updating them. But then they would like before it was 8 weeks, and they take you out. Then they take all the bits out that are like not the mercury fillings and bones, and then they would like grind them up and throw them back in.
Decompose, yeah. They just
Not as quickly.
Okay.
Then you have the mycelium coffins that I was telling you about earlier, so they help you decompose quicker. But you still have the problem that the water has to be get guided either to a waste facility, the water that comes off the ground.
Oh wow.
So it's a whole thing. So in England, what they're doing is they recommend that you make your natural burials as near to the coastline as possible, because then it doesn't have the toxic waste. I mean, there is cemeteries in the UK, and they're not only toxic because of the bodies, they're toxic because of the varnish on the coffins, because of the nails, because of the synthetic material inside, because people in America are literally burying their loved ones with their mobile phones.
What?
Yeah. There's like loads of cases where like they suddenly hear like explosions going off when they're cremating them because they're putting their mobile phones in with them. Like what, like in case they're not dead yet.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean it's unbelievable the amount of things. You also have like prosthetic legs and like, I mean there's, we are toxic.
Wow.
Basically.
So here I am just thinking, oh, the coffin and the nails. But
we are
so
toxic.
it's actually our duty to detoxify before we reach that day.
Well, yeah, that would be amazing. But the reality of it is, I think the older you get, the more people take medicines, pharmaceuticals, chemotherapy, radiotherapy, like, I mean, the list goes on. It's quite intense, but it still can be beautiful. And it's just, in Spain at the moment, it's not illegal, and it's not legal, but it's not illegal. So I think if you can find a cool mayor in a cool town, somebody that's got an amazing plot of land that they don't know what to do with, or, I mean, it's a brilliant business proposition. It really is. if you're a businessman. But if you also you want your land to go to something good and beautiful and
A means to an end.
yeah.
Yeah, so if anybody knows anyone out there that would be interested in this,
I know that there's also, I was telling you before, there's from the natural death lady that I've been emailing in England, she's brilliant. And she was telling me there's various people in Spain that have had this idea. I know I'm not the first person, and it's not like an idea that's like my idea. Of course it's not. It's something that if there's more people around that have the same idea, want to do the same projects, we come together.
get on board.
And then, because you want to have a natural cemetery or not cemetery, you don't want to call it cemetery because that's cemetery.
Yeah, what would you call it?
Well, I mean, there is actually places where you can leave the ashes, and there's places called Bosque de los Recuerdos, or Jardín de las Memorias, the Garden of Memories, the Forest of Loved Ones, or I mean, I haven't started doing the branding yet. I'm waiting for Christmas for my lawyer to come back to me with a strategy, and then I'll start with the branding. I'll start really going serious with. I've got investors. So many people want to invest in something like this.
So we just need the land.
I just need a land at the moment so I can apply for the permit. Or let's see what my lawyer says at Christmas.
Wow. Wow, that, I don't know about you guys, but I would really like this to happen before my end of days come. I think
This is going to be done in the next couple of years. I'm going to have something announced
Definitely.
for sure in Spain.
And I really love the idea of perhaps allowing the pets, which are your family,
Yeah.
the pets being, buried under the same tree. And whole family tree idea, that just blew my mind.
Yeah.
That just gives a
But
whole new meaning.
there's lots of different ways that this could be like targeted. Like you could actually start selling, like maybe sell like plots of land, and so you have like that area
Right.
that's yours for your whole family.
For that generation.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it so many different ways. But what my main thing is I don't want it to be so that you have to be paying, like in Spanish cemeteries, people, they pay for their funeral spot years in advance. Like they save up. Yeah, there is like a special thing where they pay like a lot of money.
So you've really got to plan this ahead.
Yes, but with a natural death, the only setback I'm having really is that because I don't want to use formaldehyde and things like that. Obviously, that's another one of the toxins that goes into the ground.
No, but why? I mean, that's for preserving bodies.
Yeah, but if you don't use formaldehyde, you can't transport a body,
Oh my god.
right? So your customers, they have to like be within the same kind of, at least in the same province. So this is the funny story with the lawyer. That's why the lawyer came on board with me, because no lawyer would really wanted to do this with me, because it's too big a project, too much investigation. But her first ever case that she ever did was like a really funny story, and I forget exactly what it was, but it was like someone had died and they had to be moved from one province to the next province. And so she was involved as a very young student with the craziness of how much preparation if you want to be moved. Like obviously if you want to come to my forest cemetery, like you're not going to be flown over from the UK, or maybe I will have a section for formaldehyde people. I don't know. It's just got like you got to just go figuring it out as you go.
Yeah, I mean maybe by then there'll be some kind of process where you can.
There is a natural way of preserving bodies, but it has to be accepted by the authorities in the place where you pass.
Of course. Would it be something akin to what the Egyptians did?
No, it's just like a bio product, equivalent formaldehyde but bio version. So I know. And then there's these special bags as well that they can put you in. And so that preserve you for longer, but they have to be accepted by whatever authority where you're traveling through.
Of course. Yes. I remember my granddad, when he died, he actually went missing. The body went missing.
What?
No one knew where it was, so we couldn't have the funeral until we found the body. And my mum had to go and identify the body because she was the only one alive at the time, or in the family. And for some reason she took me with. I remember being really small and looking through the window. She told me to wait outside, and I looked through the window and I saw him there in the morgue on the metal sort of bit, and he was full of black and blue. But so apparently she said that they just sort of put him in a freezer. So maybe that's also, you could make a, they travel with food in a
special, a special freezer trucks. I mean, it's I don't know, who knows? I just have to go finding, slowly finding, and then finding solutions for people that want to come, and if they pass in different places, and say if somebody passes in Cadiz, if it's possible for them to come to Malaga and be buried, there's lots of things, but first, step by step is finding a land and getting a permit. Basically, that's my main goal, and just also. I've been talking, because the more you talk about these things, the more you find out about different traditions in different countries, and there's funny stories in Greece. In Greece it's crazy. You literally have to go back to the cemetery. I think it's also 20 years later, you actually have to see the corpse, and then they give you a bag of bones, and they're there's your husband or whatever, and then you're
oh my god,
and then you have the bones, or you can decide you want to pay more for them to keep the bones, and then they put them in a jar, and then they put them in this place, and you have to pay more and more and more, and people have to pay up to 65,000 euros just to get a place.
So a dead body is costing money.
Yes. My mum, I have my two dads buried in San Pedro, and one is called Henning and one is Fleming. And I always laugh at my mum, they're going to think that you're killing off your husbands. But she pays every year. But so the idea with the forest cemetery is that you pay once when you pass, and that's it.
Yeah, that seems more ethical.
Yeah, but I would like to have it so you can pay it to reserve a spot, but then what if you pass in another jurisdiction? Then you've got to deal with the kids that come and they're like, we want our money back from my grandma who reserved the spot on your land or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I want to keep it as simple as possible, because it should be something simple, and death is so much about just going back to the earth and just to make it as natural as possible. It's so natural. We have to stop polluting the planet after we die.
Absolutely. And I'm pretty sure that every single one of you watching has not even considered what a biohazard human beings are once they're put in the ground. Not just the coffins. Your actual body, what's in your teeth, the medicines you're taking, your fake boobs, everything. So, I'm really hoping that this is going to make you rethink the way you live your life and the way you're going to leave. And like we've said, if there's anybody out there that has the perfect piece of land close to the coast, according to the waterway.
Well, that's what they recommend, right? It doesn't have to be close to the coast. It can be way up in the mountain. It just has to be, in Spain the law is, it has to be 500 meters away from the nearest town, and not near drinkable water.
Sure, I would agree with
right?
that.
And then the other law that's set in stone is, you can't be near a well, so you can't be above a well.
Yeah, because it's all going to drain down in there, of course. Yeah, that's a biohazard.
Yeah. I mean, in cemeteries in the UK, they literally, some of the cemeteries is chemical waste. They have to take the waste out as chemical waste. So that's how bad it is.
Yeah, we need to change the whole paradigm of dying and resting your body somewhere. And I think Pernille has she's given birth to something that has to come to fruition very soon. So if you guys could help us out, that would be absolutely great.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Pernille. You've educated me on something that we really take for granted.
Yeah.
Absolutely take for granted. I'm going to totally rethink. I mean, this is a whole new approach to when you're trying to educate your children. Like, don't eat that. This is you shouldn't drink that. These things are toxic. We don't actually think about where it's going to end up at the end. So now I'm going to strategize a whole new sort of, don't eat that because you're going to you're basically going to pollute the earth when you're in it.
Don't get silicone lips.
Don't get silicone.
Because they're going to end up in the earth one day. Or something. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. You get buried with what? Well, that's all you're taking with you. Yeah. It's what's under your skin. So.
Yeah.
So be conscious of everything that you put in your body, because if you really care about the planet, it goes deeper than just being healthy. You've actually got to consider what you're going to be doing to the planet once you're 6 foot under.
Yeah. What's legal in Spain is in 3 provinces you can have a sea burial, which means that they take you out on a boat and they throw your body into the sea.
With weight so that it goes down, or you just...
I don't know exactly, but it's the law.
In 3 provinces?
In 3 provinces. So Galicia is one of them, and I can't remember the other 2, but I was just so shocked when I found this out. I was like, oh my god. So it's legal. So if it's legal to throw your body into the sea, it should be legal also to I mean, come on, bury your body under a tree.
But if let's say that's a province. It's like, so what if it floats to the next province where it's not legal?
Well, it goes. You have to go way out to sea, and it's like a whole. But this is a law that can't. This is what I mean. They haven't changed their laws from back in the day when sailors used to go out. People used to die on board from sicknesses, and then what do you do with the body? Well, you have to throw it out to sea.
So your point is, now is the time to change the way we're doing things because it's so
because they haven't started making the laws yet that stop that. They're still doing crazy things from the past. So if they're going to start implementing new laws, it's better to get in there before.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you, everybody. Goodbye for now.
Bye-bye.
And hopefully we'll hear a lot more in a few more months.
Yes.